metropolitan joining from the top. All models are being used for that. No, I mean it. No, I mean it. Not in the joiner line, no. He just walked in and walked.
I like how some people, Alina, who are we looking at? Where are we going?
Yalla grab the mic. Yalla grab the mic first. Yalla grab the mic first. Yalla grab the mic.
This is very disrespectful.
Darling, sir.
Oh,
I think we might be blocking a van there. Yeah. You want us to go on the side? Right? You ready, everyone?
Yep.
Yes, so good morning to you all. Thank you very much for braving the hot weather. At least it's not raining like the last general election. So we thank God for good mercies. The voting experience this morning was exceptional. It was very quick, very well organized. I was number 237 at my particular polling station, and that's a good turnout this early in the morning. Actually, it's a tremendous turnout. We've received good reports of proper flow, good turnout from our end, from the structures of our own canvassing. So we're confident about today. We spotted a few irregularities prior to the election, which we had a careful note of. Of course, we're taking very sincere and proper steps to make sure that we manage every aspect of this election properly. We're just hoping for eventless day in terms of management and structures. We encourage our citizens to come out and exercise democratic rights. And I'm confident that we will be back in government tomorrow morning, or in fact tonight.
what type of irregularities you were looking at?
Prior we saw polling cards being issued for people in locations that they didn't exist in. So similar name, entirely different person, in a family. So we're taking careful note of it. Just let me remind you that having been an attorney at law involved in several election petitions, and having fought my own election petition, which oddly enough the costs in respect of which are still outstanding. The UNC has some $7 million in legal costs to pay the PNM, and the primary target was Faris Al-Rawi. So I'm very well familiar with what I need to do in terms of managing election petitions. There will be an election petition in this election for sure, because Princestown is lost quite properly. So that is definitely a seat that will come to the PNM, but I don't want to cover that necessarily today. That's for another event.
We've seen a couple of places, polling stations where persons are staying like 2-3 hours to cast their votes, and probably one of the reasons is due to the COVID measures. Do you think time should have been extended?
Not at all, not at all. Let me explain why. I think it has to do with the experience of presiding officers. So at Gulfview, where we saw some long lines, very inexperienced and young team over there, but take a look behind me here. I was in and out, and that involved me having to wait for my mom to come out as well. So it was a 2-second exercise. It's just a matter of process flow. I think we've ironed those out right now. You know, it's teething problems. These things happen, but in San Fernando we're well disciplined. I'm very pleased at the voter turnout that we've had so far, particularly from my own areas. Obviously we're tracking our own areas across the constituency, as we've done a very heavy amount of canvassing. Well, we will be in our respective zones. There is no mass gathering at Badisi House as is traditional when we obtain our victory tonight. That is not on the cards. We are keeping within the parameters of the protocol. It was quite shocking actually. Somebody sent me a picture of me passing by one of my opponents, Sean Sobers, and I was amazed that at the UNC camp nobody wears a mask. It's very, very different if you come to our head office and structures. We are just not in that position. So we're taking the COVID situation very seriously. Obviously a general election is a very serious matter. The Constitution provides only a few measures for avoiding a general election. Wartime is one of them, and we're not at war. So this pandemic has been something that we've had to manage. It is very important that we keep the sobriety of Trinidad and Tobago in check and in order, and that we remember that there's still a country to run and people to live. So we are being very careful about that in our management. Later this afternoon, our respective sub-offices are all in place. We have a very strong machinery. They report to head office. and we're ready and set in our disparate locations to bring home the result in a measured COVID managed situation construct.
Just for clarity, is there any particular situation that the complaint already been filed already?
No, an election petition is always filed after the election.
So there will be.
Let me deal with that on a different day, because today is a polling day. I don't want to traverse the lines. The party has spoken to that. Mr. Imbut has spoken clearly on that matter. I'm counting 1 seat extra for the PNM in any event, full stop. I'm absolutely confident about that, but that is not for today. I'll let the party machinery speak about that. I have my own views on the law.
So your parliamentary friend, Dr. Munira, said that there was a high turnout, which usually indicates a desire for change. And even in this constituency, he was speaking at
there's always a high
San Fernando West.
Dr. Munira is a good, how should I say, talker, right? I mean, let's give Jack his Jack. Dr. Munira to talk. Dr. Munira doesn't want you to go and check the facts. There's always a high turnout in San Fernando West, 73%, 70%, 75%. So that's nothing unusual. In San Fernando West, we take our voting seriously. So this is a typical turnout. It's not a high turnout. What was important for me to keep my eyes on was whether COVID would have caused a low turnout. So it seems that we're on proper track for a regular turnout in San Fernando West. We have done our work. It is now for the electorate to speak and for the process to be managed.
One last thing, there is no current government
Well, you notice that there's a heavy police presence. You notice that we've all got our respective polling agents inside of the structures of every single voting room. We take notes. So I'm quite confident that the scrutiny that the existing elections and boundaries machinery provides will give us comfort. I remind you that at the local government election, we never have complete. And so I don't think it an absolute necessity that there's CARICOM or Commonwealth observers. The invitation was made. They said they could not afford it, nor would they manage it in the COVID period. So it's not that Prime Minister Rowley didn't want it. Prime Minister Rowley offered it, volunteered it. It was not accepted. But I'm quite confident, having been an attorney involved in umpteen election petitions myself, and having watched the electorate go to work, that we can manage our elections safely and securely as a nation.
Firstly, I know the Prime Minister has made mention of the High Commissioners and Government Ambassadors who are here that usually make suggestions from Commonwealth and CARICOM. Can you tell us if they are out and will be able to observe on here?
I couldn't say that. As far as I'm aware, I understand that they did not accept the invitation. From my own perspective, to ask an ambassador or a high commissioner to participate in an electoral observation is to invite a conflict of interest. Because as a neutral representative for a country, then you'd be called upon to take a partisan position. So if you think about it, and I'm going to use this expression carefully, the physics just don't work. I'm putting it as raw as I can. So the point is, we have a very deliberate and diligent fourth estate, the media. We have polling agents on the inside. We are in a world where we check things meticulously, and we will deal with that. I want to say that I have to condemn the UNC continued advertisements. There are signboards that are running in contravention to the law today. I mean digital and electronic signboards, and there is one particular advocate for the UNC at Gulfview who insisted that she located herself in the line from 6 a.m. until the police just removed her a short while ago. That is contrary to election rules, and I want to warn the UNC that they have to obey the rules, as simple as wearing your mask or observing election rules under the law. So those are things that cannot be tolerated, and those are a few of the blots that we've noticed today. It's still about midday. 6 hours to go. The COVID lines will no doubt ensure that people are still in the line, legitimately allowed to vote after 6 o'clock, provided they are in the line. And I expect this to be a take-home win victory for San Fernando West for Faris Al-Rawi.
AG, Dr. Rowley has asked people to stay home and celebrate this evening. What's your word to your
It's of course, I mean, our political leader speaks for us all. So no Balizé House for the victory. No campaign head office for victory. We are all in our respective sub-offices. The machine is at work within COVID restrictions. And yes, we'll celebrate remotely. There will be no doubt a want to come out and join in forces, but in our political structure, we obey instructions. Okay? Thank you all very much. Thanks for braving the hot weather, everyone. What was the person doing?
Is it the lawyer? Is the lawyer? Yes.
I'm gonna give you my assurance. Same way I gave you the assurance, I will move to Abdul's next day. And the next day.
Nico! Ade?
Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
All right.
Have a great day. Enjoy.
Huh?